Welcome again. In the previous lecture, we have looked into the execution step of assign files. So the next step we have in the execution process or demonstration process, basically from the LSMW standpoint, is read data. So before that, we have a step of preparing the data file for the LSMW execution. So for that, we will be preparing a file. So here is the sample file I have prepared. So if if you notice that, like, we had another column, sorry, we had another row right on the top of this row where we had the description of like what this field represent, like that. Like if you see that, so I have just removed this row because obviously we cannot have more than one row as a header, and obviously we have to use the field name like whatever we have defined. If you look into our source fields, so like these are the fields we should be using, because that's how we have maintained our source structure. So that's why I have removed this first row right here, because we already know like what these each of these fields represent. And obviously, like all of these files, whatever we are processing, I will be providing that to you in the attachment on this course, so you can obviously go through all of these on yours as a practice. So like so I wanted to create the GL account on the series of 400,000. And obviously, so from the GL perspective, these are the GL accounts I will be creating. These are 5 GL accounts. Company code is going to be ABCC, and then these are going to be these are so if that these would be, or any of these would be balance sheet account, then I would have mark X here as well, because these are profit and loss account. So I just mark X here on all these GL accounts, because all of these belongs to material. All of these GL accounts are P&L type GL accounts. The next thing we have is account group. So how I get this information? So obviously, from the finance perspective, you go to T code OBD4, and if I enter my chart of account here ABCC, you can see that the material accounts are from 4000 all the way 0 and 4 and 90 to 4 until 99. And and here you can get the account group name. So it's MATR. This is what I have mentioned here in this file. And then this is the short description. This is the long description. Field status group. What does that represent? Let's look into that. Well, let's look into one of the GL account here. If I look into that GL account here, this is also one of the material GL accounts. So you can see that this field status group G006 represent material accounts. Obviously, like in companies, there might be a different field status group they would be using, because you can define your own field status group too. But I'm just using that as it's a standard field status group which is given into the SAP system as default. So here we get the field status group, then the text type, so text category basically. So if I go here, I get the text category. So the asterisk represent all text type. If I go into detail on that, if you still remember, you can go back and look into the source field. We have the length of that field is up to two characters, and so you can see that some of the categories are up to two characters. That's why it's given the maximum length for that field is two character. So I'm just using asterisk from here. And then the next field we have is currency. So here's the currency here for for an account. So that's from where I'm getting that. And then XINTB is a post automatically only. Post automatic only option in the GL account master. If there is a GL account where you cannot post a transaction manually into it, for these kind of GL accounts, you will select that checkbox. Obviously, we don't want to have that. That's why it is left blank. And remember that even though like if there are certain fields which you are not using, If there are certain fields you are not using in your GL uh, master creation, you might can ignore them. Like you can take them off out of your you can take them off out of your file, and then obviously from the source structure, because when we are talking about the P&L type, here is your P&L type. Either it's a profit and loss account or it's a balance sheet account. Here is your account group. Here is your GL account. Here is your company code, short text, long text. So all you need is one, just identification of one. You don't need to have both in the file, because obviously you have to mark one out of that. So, but I just put these in the file to give you a kind of a in a broader view of the file. Otherwise, you might can ignore them, like this field and then this field, as long as you don't want to have your GL accounts post automatically only. Then the next field we have is line item display. I have got that from here, right here. It's a line item display option. It's also optional thing. You really don't need to have that. You can take them off if you don't want it. Sort key. It's a required thing. You need to place a one kind of sort key into your GL master. That's why it's a required. So I'm just using a standard 0001 right there. It's a posting date. So and then posting without text allowed. This is the option right here I'm referring to. This one, posting without text allowed. So this is, we are marking it here. So purpose of that is, if you want to post something into these GL accounts without calculating text, you can. And then the last one we have is managing account in local currency. Here is the option right here, this option right here. So any, if you are posting any GL transaction into that and you're posting into a different currency, system will convert that into a local currency. So that's how basically we prepared our file. And as I mentioned earlier, we just removed that first row out of that, because otherwise it will turns into an error, because the system is going to just ignore first row, because we cannot have more than first row as a column name or description, etc. So obviously we have to keep it as a field name, which is more meaningful for the system. Let's save that file as into our C drive temp folder. So I'm gonna just copy, I'm gonna just save as that. So it's saved now. So here basically what we did, we just created the data file for our LSMW. So here is the GL account number, company code. It's a balance sheet account indicator. It's a P&L account indicator, account group, short text, long text, field status group, text category, currency, post automatically only, line item display. Let me move that over. So fields, so field, short text, long text, field status group, text category, currency, post automatically only indicator, a line item display, sort key, posting without text allowed, and only balance in local currency in the account. So we just prepared this file, and now the next step is going to be where we will start demonstrating our LSMW. So it was all about in this lecture. I will stop here and I will see you in our next lecture.